Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. Should I say good day, mate? Because we're down under at Sandown International Motor Raceway in Australia. Part 2 of Weekend Warriors this time of the Ford Spec Racers. I'm Tim Cox with Charles Michelle and Josh Wilkie in the virtual production trailer. Wow, this is an epic circuit. The first time we've ever come here on Apex Racing TV and the first time in the SRF Weekend Warriors. What are we going to expect? Well, frill spills and plenty. Let's take a little look at the championship standings though before we get stuck into the meat and bones of what we're about to experience today. And it's Yang Chi Lin who leads the way. He's had 1 victory, but says 2 second places means he commands the top by only 3 points over Marco Panero, who won last time out at Centre Point and round 1 at Rudskogen. Jason Green, he lies in 3rd after picking up 3rd at Rudskogen, 2nd at Phillip Island, not on the podium at Summit Point though. That's why he's getting cut a little bit of drift. Dudu Category well down as well in 4th, but still plenty of time to come back on that one. His fellow countrymen Flavio Andalo in 5th, then it's Overstreet, Wood, Jacobson, Renders and McCain to round up the top 10. Have a little hop across into Spec 2 now, and Josh Justice leads the way there. A much more commanding position at the top. It's the Aussie Philip Berry in 2nd, but he's well down, nearly 50 points in fact behind Justice. Ian Gibson 3rd, then it's Jackson, Viglini, Sarkolski, Batley, Clement, Hoyniak and Conti to round out the top 10 there. And I tell you, from that 4th down, it's really tight. It's a Masters now. Now we're missing a lot of the big hitters. As Jim Brewster described it early on tonight in the Formula 4 when he claimed the class victory. We have no Marnie. We have no Race. Do we have Gradwell? I haven't seen him in the listings. We've got the Kafka, Nunez in 5th. It's pretty tight in that midfield part with Stephen Mitchell not far behind either. Look at that. From Kafka to Mitchell, they're only separated by 3 points heading into round 4. Jelly Logan, he's in 7th. It's Murakami. Brewster, who finished on the podium last season, joined in 8th with Murakami. Bradshaw rounding out the top 10, but only just 1 point ahead of Charlie Vaccaro. Oh, well, Charles, it's me saying Charlie then, and then you being Charles just completely threw me. I won't lie whatsoever. Trip of the tongue. First time I've been here, first time you've been here, first time Josh, our producer's been here. A real trip into the unknown and discovery. But we looked at this circuit and said, well, it's got oval vibes to it, hasn't it? But it's those long straightaways that's really whetting my appetite.
Yeah, it really does. And you mentioned that it looks like there's a horse track on the inside, on the infield there, as you can see, kind of the fencing and stuff. So yeah, it does kind of have a an oval feel to it. So it should be a very interesting race. There's a couple of really tricky spots. I was watching practice. Pit entry, and we'll get to that a little bit later, as people are going to have to try and navigate that. It looks like chaos, but looks like I'm going to be very interested to see how these drivers navigate this, because not this track came on, or I'm sorry, came in a few seasons ago, but it's still really not used that much.
And from looking at its layout, we could expect. I'm really surprised and don't know why. You mentioned about that horse track on the inside there. You could say it's its neighbour. Anyway, let's take the grid. Marco Pinero starts on pole as, well, usual, but it's James Walker on the front row with him. To the Castro as DJ Alessandrini, who won in the Formula Fords earlier on today. Can he make it 2 wins from 2 this evening? Jason Green and Thomas Renders make up row 3, with row 4 being Yang Ji-Lin, championship leader, and next to Evandro Dantas. We got Dominic Hammer next to Jeff Jacobson, rounding out your top 10 in row 5. Row 6, that's Overstreet and Gardini. To row 7 sees Dan Woodline next to Adria Fabini, Banka, well done by his high standards. He starts next to Hugh Simpkins. Row 9 is Kurt Nunes and Jeff Richard to make up an all-masters row, with Bradford Gould lining up next to Ian Gibson to round out your top 20. On to row 11 is Alan McCain and Fabio Scarli. Adam Bradshaw has fellow Masters driver Steve Mitchell for company on row 12, with row 13 being Jim Brewster and Tom Gradwell. He'll expect to see him come through. Bit of local knowledge surely coming into play. Likewise, with Brad Cadcart starting just behind him, next to Paul Jackson. Mike Knutson and Bob Kerman round up row 15 at your top 30, with Gary Walbolt next to Gianni Lonkin. Carter and Vaglini make up row 17. And that is everyone. That is everyone. I'm used to it carrying on even more. A small grid by our standards. Only just the 34.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is like you said, small grid for our standards. We're used to 40 plus, and you having to work through a massive grid and get them all in before. But we've got plenty of time to watch these guys on the pace lap.
We have indeed. Get ready for a bit of a trip into the unknown here, Discovery. What they're going to play out with tactics, I mean, those long straightaways can provide ample opportunity for fuel saving, Charles. I know Jason Green will be. He is the master numero uno when it comes to fuel strat in that 160 machine. But do you think other people will follow suit, or are you going to see a few more people just go hell for leather and make up places in the slipstream?
I would say I think there's some really good opportunities for fuel saving here, but I think it's just going to be unknown for everybody. So we'll just have to kind of watch along and see what happens.
Wow. Let's find out, folks. Let's get ready to go racing from Sandown in the SRF Weekend Warriors live on Apex Racing TV, as we are green and we are go down to turn 1. Who's going to win this one? Well, Pinero does not hang around. Look at that. Alessandrini just coming alongside Castro there. Round the outside into turn 1. This 90-degree left-hander anti-clockwise circuit here at Sandown. And everyone just about making it through here into turn 2. And already people making up places. Dantas, he looks aggressive off the start. He's up 3 places into 5th. Green down 3 into 8th. Big climbers though. Gianni Long, and he's up 12. 12. And really out of turn 2.
That's amazing. I don't know how you can get 12 spots in 2 corners, but he's managed to do it. So great driving by him off the start of this race.
Well, definitely interesting to see whether they can keep that one up as he's now inside the top 20. We get a picture of what this slipstream fest is going to be like at Sandown as we come down onto the brakes. There's your lead group though, and already those top 2 are Pinero and Walker scampering away up off the field. 1.5 seconds the gap to Alessandrini in 3rd, who's Castro, Dantas and Lynn, your championship leader, right behind him. And watch out, that pit entry. We spoke about it before the show. That's going to be treacherous, isn't it? Hard onto the anchors to get in that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's basically you jump in. It's a very short pit lane at the start of it, and then it's almost like a 90-degree corner to the left. And so you have to navigate that before you can even get on pit road to get to your box.
I said before the show, it reminds me a little bit of Oran Park, and well, that's an Australian circuit too. Maybe it's just something they've got in the blood here of awkward pit entrances. There goes Di Castro up the inside of Alessandrini. Lynn tries to follow him through, can't quite do it, but he's going to get him surely in the slipstream here as Castro takes command of the chasing pack. Already 2.2 seconds is the gap between Castro and Walker. Here comes Lynn. No bump drafting, but gets out the throttle, interestingly, as Alessandrini pushes Castro along the back straightaway.
I think we get our answer on if there's going to be some fuel saving. I think that Lynn has already started that process. Kind of just backed out of that. Didn't want to make the pass down. Is content to be where he is for the time being.
Good start as well. He is up into 6th, up 3 places. Overstreet up 3 as well. Into 8th. Yes. Down, isn't he, a bit?
Oh, yeah, he was off track. He was off track there, and we got a spin in front.
That's Fafini. There he is, the Swedish driver. Around him. Well, if that's damage to his car, well, he's going to be slow off the corner, which is going to hamper him down this long, long front stretch. Let alone if he's got any damage to that car. We're going to find out shortly. Here is the replay, which will give us all these answers, Charles, hopefully.
So working their way down here. Curb hopping. These cars don't necessarily like curb hopping, but there you see it. Just jumped up on the curb and just unsettled the car and maybe had too much throttle and spun it.
Got a good whack from Jeff Fritcher for it as well, didn't he? He had nowhere to go and collided straight with him. Castro still leads the chasing pack, though, that well, starts at him in 3rd and ends all the way down at who's Simpkins in 13th.
Yeah, it was as we were watching practice earlier. I noticed, and you saw a good example up there. This track has a couple different types of curbs. It has a normal curbs like we would normally see, but then it's got what I would call those tabletop curbs, like you would see at like Nürburgring on the Nordschleife, where you just kind of rises up, and then it's a completely different level, and you just kind of ride that. And those are kind of tricky to navigate it sometimes. So it's and like I said, these cars aren't necessarily known for curb hopping, so that's going to be another little factor in this race.
Well, these two have got it absolutely mastered, Charles. 2.75 seconds is the gap they have over the rest of the field already. I really like on to lap 4. That's nearly what it's over half a second a lap.
Yeah, they're just really cranking out the laps.
Fascinating stuff here. There's Overstreet, currently in 8th. That'll lose a place to Thomas Renders, though, in the 41 machine. He pulls alongside. Green just behind them, who's had a shocker restart, down 5 into 10. For the Americans, we look back from Renders. In front, he's got himself into a little pocket. That's Dominic Hamida in front of us. Overstreet behind. That camera angle, Charles, for me displays exactly what you were talking about in terms of those curves. It's aggressive, steep curves with those tabletops on top of them, and then some more normal-looking curves as we're experiencing now, for some more harsh ones again.
Yeah, and it's varied. It's just mixed, amongst the track. And going back to Green, yeah, he's probably down 5 spots, but I think we're all aware that he's probably fuel saving from the green flag. So he's not worried about losing a spot here and a spot there. He's going to make his time up in the pits.
Yes, someone who's maybe abandoned that fuel-saving strat. That's Yang Lin sneaking up the inside of Alessandrini, but that switchback just helping and allowing Alessandrini to claim hold of that 4th place for now. But they are nose to tail right behind him. And what will Lin do? Will he push Alessandrini down the back straight away? On board with Gardini now. You can see they train in front of us down that back straightaway alongside the race course. And a bit of movement up in front. Once again, that is Lin trying to get past Alessandrini, and he's got it done finally. And he needed to because Castro started to pull away already. But was that a slowdown for Lin's going to pick up? He really just took a lot of the curves and some more, and all 4 wheels off the track.
Yeah, I've never driven the track, so I can't tell you if that's a slowdown or not. I would think it is. It's definitely an off track. So, if they're watching their X's, that's going to be another one. But you see just how how tight some of these corners are, especially when you're too wide. It's just very difficult to navigate a couple of these tighter chicanes.
Here we go, 3 wide, down the front straight away, and Sandown getting absolutely bullied and mugged right now. He's gone from third. He lost that place to Castro a couple of laps ago, and then he's drove for a fourth as they all run in deep, they all run in wide, but they all get away with it somehow, some way. So we look back from Overstreet, there's Green, who's picked up a couple of places, Renders, but Alessandrini down to 10th now.
Yeah, that's odd because we saw him win the Formula Ford race and obviously had a really good qualifying spot here. So it's kind of interesting to see him falling back like this.
As soon as you get offline here, Charles, it's like certain circuits. Of course, we saw yesterday Petit Le Mans on iRacing, and it reminds me to come up through the S's there. Turns 3, 4, 5. If you get offline, that's it. It's game over. You can lose places. Just so many and boundary down test plus the gravel trap.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's probably a lot of it, and there may be a slowdown involved in it also. Just kind of back off. Let's get a replay from Josh.
What happened to Andrew Dantas?
Yep. Too much curb and
ran in deep because of it.
Yep.
You see where he got the car fully loaded up on that right side suspension, and if he threw out the anchors, that would have been it, game over for him, and he loses a couple more places. Alessandrini there pushing Thomas Renders ahead, said, no, come on, we need to get a move on here. I need to clear him as well. We're going for this. And they hustle their way past the Brazilian. And now has Gartini and Jacobson hot on his tail to contend with. Well, I wasn't sure what to expect from here, Charles, but this has been far more fast and frenetic than what I was expecting. And here's the push. It's NASCAR style down in Australia as Lynn pushes Castro down the back straight away.
Yeah, and that's the very tight little thing that I think Lynn jumped earlier, the little chicane. But yeah, I think that move you saw on the outside of turn 1 was very much of an Aussie supercar move. Just taking it to the outside and hanging it out, riding the curb around.
What's top 2? They're clear. They're gone. They're checked out. Panero and Walker. But you can visually see the gap there. I think it's 4 seconds and growing, Charles, right now. With no real answers, much as Castro and Lynn at this stage of the race try. Lynn is pushing Castro, literally. Can't catch up quite. So Overstreet and Alessandrini just behind there. That is Favini, who is a lap down, in fact. Just behind Overstreet, utilising her to try and tow him along. Trying to make up a bit of ground at this early stage of the race. In 10 minutes, the quarter race distance complete. I'm not sure where that one has gone. So Panero, Walker, Castro, your podium overall, and in Spec 1. Masters is Nunes, Brewster, Mitchell. Spec 2 is Gibson by a country mile over Jackson, who's comfortably in second in class 23rd overall, and Mike Knutson, who's third. There's your Gibson. He's got a big pocket behind him, and an even bigger one in front of him. Nearly 5 seconds to Kurt Nunes here, Masters leader ahead of him, who's in 50. Oh, I just heard a clatter and a clank and some tyre skidding, and that's Jeff Jacobson.
Yeah, I think that probably is something that's very similar to what happened earlier. It's weird, and it's because I think part of it is we don't have our normal as Brewster called them, our normal alien masters out there today. But you normally see a couple of those guys, Monty and Reyes, up in the top 5, battling. To see Nunes, who's no slouch, really good driver, all the way down to 14th is a kind of a shock. Well, and as I look at that, Kabanga, who is just great guns in the Formula Ford, is in 13th.
It is. I mean, it's a big loss. It's some big gains out there. So Carter and Scarlett did not make the start, which brought us down to 32. Viglini won that down, and in fact, pretty much so is Favini as well. Obviously, those two caught up in earlier incidents. Yeah, well, it's setting my ears a little bit here, Charles. You can hear them, the cars clattering, but they're really, really mounting and aggressively punching those curves.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, everybody will tell you that, if you've got a track that has curbs like this, that's probably the fastest line out through the corner. So they're trying to use it as best they can on a car that, like, as I keep mentioning, doesn't necessarily like doing curbs. But so they're doing the best job that they can. It's been it's not been a horrible race. We haven't really had any big issues. We've had some spins here and there, but no real major dilemma.
No, there's not been the big one, has there? Which we were too sure coming down to turn one for the show. What would quite happen? Would there be a big one? Wouldn't there? I mean, if someone got it wrong badly, then there probably would be. But we all made it through and just spaced everyone out a little bit as the pushing crew going to work once again down the back straightaway of Castro and Lynn. They are catching though, Charles.
Yeah,
they are eating bits of time out of those two in front of them, but it's still 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's very, very slow. It's tenths per lap. So they are making the time up, and we still got plenty of time left to get that back, but it is slow going at this point.
It is. It is, and you see the gap visually shrinking now. Panero just starting to eke out a bit of a gap over Walker. Canadian finds himself 3 tenths behind the Italian at this stage of the race. We haven't even talked about pit stops really, have we? And how that's going to factor in.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about pit entry, but yeah, it's, and then pit exit's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. It's kind of like Monza. It just kind of flows right out into the racing line on a big, long straightaway. So you got to be very careful and be up to speed. For the cars that are still on the track, you can't make passes to the right side. Otherwise, you're going to end up taking somebody out. So that'll be a little bit of a challenge, and we'll start seeing it. I'm assuming that we'll start getting some undercuts here in the next couple of laps. We usually have those.
Well, someone that's normally good with those fuel strats, Jason Green, you can see on the screen right now, viewers. And I don't. Based on how he's going, I would say there is no fuel saving going on there. So he's ahead of Dominic Hamada, has only just got past him. So making up places, he's back to where he started, having dropped down to, well, I think it was 11th at one stage, wasn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah, so yeah, he's made all his spots back up, and he's back into P5. It's pretty size. It's almost 5 second gap up to the car in front to Lynn. So yeah, maybe he's realized that maybe I can't fuel save so much. I really need to start pushing a little bit of a pace to try and close that gap down.
With the way those two are working together, though, I just can't see him catching him. There's no disrespect to Green, but
no.
I mean, you get a real good impression. Brilliant camera angle there from producer Josh. I just showcasing the way that these cars are clattering and bouncing and bounding off those curves, heading out onto this back straightaway, through 2, 3, 4. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating stuff. But I just get the sense that it's just calmed down, which is always a little bit of a worry. Alessandrini just heading in front of Overstreet there, but always a bit of a worry because when things calm down in this series, it's only a moment away from all kicking off.
Exactly right. Yeah, just when you think the leaders have just walked off and left, next thing you know, we're back into a 7-car train and we start battling again. Yeah, obviously Panero and Walker Panero got a great start, and then Walker just kind of trailed behind him and has managed to stay in his slipstream. So he's doing a great job up there because as we know, Panero is really, really good with this car. Wins lots of races, championships, and but Walker is just right there, just hanging in there, riding in his wake, and managed to stay up in P2 and probably fuel saving behind him at some spots.
I need to get out my record book and give it a bit of an update at some stage, Charles, because Aero Nom leads the way on total number of overall championships with 6, I believe it is. And with Panero, the way he's been going these last few seasons, he is making, He's making hay. He's catching and making a big dent and inroad into that figure. Gaspers has 5 to his name. I think Lit Pereira's got to be up to 4 now. I'm going to have to...
So.
I will come back to you with the answers to that one next week. Bear with me, viewers. But, yeah, I mean, someone's got to take it to him. I mean, it's closed up. I think back to... was it about 3 seasons ago when we covered it, where that display that he just put on at Long Beach, where... Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That site says everything you need to know about that display. It was just...
It's just dominant. Yeah, it was. It was like he was in a different class. I mean, you know, ended up winning the race by 15 seconds or something like that on a very difficult track, and it wasn't like P2 was, you know, battling, you know, with other cars. I mean, it was just him. He just checked out, and nobody could touch his lap times. But yeah, I'm saying I think I've commentated on 2 or 3 of those championships. So, so yeah, he's got to be getting up there.
We're jockeying for position. Dan Tusk is overstreet the shove. To our left of us, though, is Thomas Renders. Gardini involved in this 4-car pack that's going to make it 3 wide here. Dan Tusk backs out of it. That might be wise, Evandro, but they all make it through somehow, some way. And Gardini leads this chasing group. Renders, Overstreet, and then Dantas. Oh, someone hopped onto the grass there. I didn't quite catch who that. Oh, that is a back marker, I think, jumping out of the way. It's the... That'd be Jenny Longhead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Longhead. Yeah, he got wide coming out of that corner and just kept it wide, allowed these cars that are racing to pass.
Out of the way. Yeah, again, finding literally his own lane there to try and allow this pack from storming through. Doesn't want to get involved in anyone else's race before he dips back onto the racing line. Wow. So Nunes still leads Masters, with Brewster and Gradwell 2nd and 3rd, 18th and 19th overall for those two. Spec 2 still Gibson in a class of his own in 16th, leading the way, with Newton and Jackson 24th, 25th, but the gap has closed up. Only a second and a half between those two, although they've got quite a bit of time over you. Simpkins, he's down 29th, 4th in class, but he has stopped. He stops back on lap 3 though, so I think he's going to have to stop again. It was damage. After the Dutchman was riding high early on.
Yeah, I think everybody that's pitted still has to stop again. Favini is pitted on lap 5, and that's the closest one that possibly could go the rest of the race. But I still think that might be a little early. You're only talking about 7 or 8 minutes into the race, so it's kind of borderline. It just depends on the fuel usage here.
It does, and with so much of this track being full throttle, Charles, I get the feeling he might need a bit of a splash and dash to get him home at the end, although with him being a lap down, that might just help him out, potentially. Remains to be seen. Looking back from Renders. Oh, wow.
Yep, the bump
Let's push.
Yep.
And again.
See the scrape marks coming in from the from the push.
It's they're cornering so aggressively.
They
I
are.
tend to see this so much. They're almost cocking the front left wheel or front right wheel. I mean, all the weight of these is in the rear of these cars. It's not just the gearbox, it's the engine too that sits over the rear axle. Not quite far over compared to the Porsche 911. But it's sat on that axle, which is going to make it light at the front. These cars are susceptible to understeer because of it as well. But it's literally like they're cocking the wheel. I mean, like, I think of hot hatchbacks we have in the UK, where really, especially Renault Clios, I'm talking complete balderdash to yourself. That, well, you will know because of good old iRacing. There's Lynn.
Oh, there we go. First taker of the pits.
Surprising though, because him and Castro were working very well together. But they have dropped off. 5.5 seconds is the gap between them and, well, these two are just pounding away at the laps. Half a second separating them. I think that's where Walker's just playing it maybe a little bit easier at this stage in that 96 machine. But, yeah, I'm surprised from Lynn that he's decided to come in with no one to slip between with.
Yeah, there you see that pit exit just basically just flows right out into the racing line. So he gives that spot up because now he's carrying a little bit more fuel. So he said, "I'll just get behind this guy." And so I'm kind of wondering because he was pushing Castro, but I'm guessing he was fuel saving. In amongst all that, we saw that a little earlier, kind of where he was kind of lift and coast in the draft. So I'm wondering if he thought that it would just be better at this point to just get out some clean air, maybe draft behind some of some of the lower pace guys and kind of work his way and kind of leapfrog his way back up to the front. Castro coming in.
Well, I'm guessing that's in reaction to Lynn coming in.
Yeah, I would think so. And then you see the pit entry uphill left-hand corner to get into the pits.
Well, Renders and Overstreet following in too. This is very, very early, 22-minute mark. I'm a little bit puzzled. Not quite as puzzled as what we saw about 5-6 seasons ago at Indianapolis when we had Aero Nom, who just couldn't quite make the corner to the side of the pit. Everyone else panicked, thought he knew something that no one else did, and everyone else pitted in the preceding laps. And by, well, just over a quarter of race distance, everyone had pitted. It's the first time I've seen so many people hit this early, especially what's proving to be a real draft track. It's like Phillip Island we visited earlier in the season, isn't it? You know, that sort of vibe. Stick with someone, work together. Yeah, you don't want to be by yourself, but it's not working that way. And where have they all come out? So, well, it's worked for Lynn. Look, he's in front of Gibson and Gould, who are all in front of Castro. Well, it's a bit of a chunk of time as well, too.
Yeah, looks like, what, 3 seconds? Almost 3 seconds, or 2 seconds. So, yeah, he's, you know, I think maybe when Castro came out, he maybe had to wait on those cars to come through as we see Lynn jump in the curb again. It's spin by the 319 off the track. Don't think there was contact. I think that was just him going in a little hotter than he normally did. Viglini.
He was a lap down anyway. Was maybe just trying to push and not wanting to hold up with Jacobson into pit road now. Well, there's Jacobson in, so he's going to fall behind these guys who've just been watching.
So here's the problem for Lynn. He's out. He's about 2 seconds in front of Gibson, who's with Castro and Gould, but he's by himself. So if those guys work together, they'll be up on his back bumper in short order, and that'll be a 4-car pack.
And he's got about 9.3 seconds. It was 10 seconds, but he's taking big chunks of time out of Kurt Nunes, who's ahead of him. But to say 9.3 seconds up the road, Charles, that's I mean, it's running in clean air, but is he actually, like you say, I don't think he's necessarily benefiting from it, because Castro's just got past Gibson. I'll lead 2 through again once more. But I think Castro, it's not going to be long before Castro's up on the back of Lynn. I think, well, maybe that undercut he was looking for hasn't quite worked to... Oh, he could affect it. Wood into the pit box now. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because we don't have any history around this circuit.
We don't.
Trying different strategies, what works on this long race format. Yeah, that's way, you know, it's double what officials are. Actually, is double. So it's those drivers. I think maybe who've tried the longer runs. I think are they the ones who have pitted early?
It is possible. I mean, you know, it's you don't learn anything if you're not practicing, and if you go to a new track, that's where you really need to practice the most. You know, we saw that with the Formula Fords at CTMP earlier. That you could defend. You could see some of the cars, some of the drivers who really knew what they were doing, and we had some that kind of struggled a bit, especially in the later laps of the race.
Let's stop and think for a minute when you said about CTFP.
CTMP. Yeah,
that as well. I mean, yes, thank you. I said, hey, what was that? Well, I'm missing something here, but no, of course, Motorsport. Great race. If you missed it earlier on, make sure you go back and watch that. That was an absolute cracker. Two drivers that have kept together. Gardini and Dantas, 6th and 7th right now for these two. Running 6th and 7th in classes. There goes McCain, who's allowing them to come through. Back to usual way to McCain after having a reigning Spec 2 championship. Back to the good old. If he didn't have any bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all again. Mitchell into the pits now. Well, I'm hearing Dudu Castro's got a bit of damage to his car. We're about to find out exactly how it happened. So that's Gould in front of him and Gibson. Ah, there we go.
Yep. Yep. And that was right behind Lynn and Viglini, and Viglini spin off the track. So maybe that was not quite reacted fast enough to.
Charles, I'm going to cut across you because look who's into the pits. It's Marco Pinheiro. Walker carries on though.
Walker stayed out. That's interesting. I think if I were him, I would have just kept hanging on Pinheiro's back bumper. But maybe he said, "I'll go an extra lap and see what happens. See if the clean air out front does some good or not."
So he slots back in behind Kabanka and Nunes, both yet to stop. And behind him is Yangshi Lin, but there's a gap, Charles, of 6.2 seconds. As Rooster and Gardwell head to pit road from 2nd and 3rd in Masters. Cathcart elevated to 2nd in Masters now, but he is yet to stop. Well, what about, we saw this with Castro and Lin. Castro pitted a lap after. Are you expecting same from Walker?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think you want to stay out front more than a couple of laps as we see him coming in now.
Well, where will he come out in relation? Yeah. That's the big question. Brewster heads out of pit road. Knutson and Bradshaw in 2. Green and Alessandrini head to pit road. Again, still maybe a little slightly early, especially if Green. Hamada carries on. Gardini, he's yet to start. So is Kabanka. So there he carry on. Gibson and Gould also yet to stop. There goes Pinheiro, and there's Walker. Oh, this is going to be tight on pit exit. Walker trying to get up to speed, but it's not enough. Pinheiro's through.
Yeah, he was actually about a second quicker in his pit stop. Just couldn't capitalize on the rejoin there because Pinheiro had a car right behind him, so he kind of give up that position on re-entering the track.
And that car was Christian Kabanka, Charles, who is in there, and that's for position. So what part of the story is he going to play? Well, there you go. We're getting our answer right now as Walker pulls along to driver's left. Well, he's 7 tenths down on Pinheiro. Make that nearly 8 tenths. In fact, still not quite out of slipstream range. And Pinheiro does have, with his weight of fuel on his car, he's got an extra lap of experience compared to Walker. As Hamada comes in from the lead.
Yeah, and Kabanka's still yet to pit, so that was a little helpful for Pinheiro just to have that kind of buffer, and that has extended the lead. So it's going to be, we'll have to see if Walker can make that time up on the straight here.
Just keeping an eye on that delta, Charles. Look at it. 8 tenths is going to drop into the 7 tenths mark. So it's okay at the moment. It's okay, but then ebbs and flows once again out to nearly 9 tenths. And I've spotted, Charles, that Walker seems to be stronger through the back of the circuit through turn 6 to 13, whereas Pinheiro seems to be stronger turn 1 to turn 4.
Yeah, this is what kind of, we dropped. He looked like he got 1/10 and a half to 2 tenths on the front straight. Let's see, still dropping down. like he picked up maybe another 10th. So I think he's just at the edge of that draft. So that's going to help him. He's just got to be clean on his laps, and he might be able to pick this back up. If he can get back within that 7 to 8 tenths, he might be able to tighten that battle up and maybe challenge for this win at the end of this race.
No, Panero starting to eat that out. It's a net gain, isn't it? It's ebbs and flows.
It is.
It's across the line, 400ths of a second difference between the pair of them, with Walker being slower. No, it's a right home about, but those 400ths will mount up across the 8 minutes that we have got remaining here from Sandown.
Ooh, is that Lynn over on the side?
Oh, hello. It is. Well, the eagle-eyed Charles Bashal. Wow.
That's not good. He seems to be missing part of his car.
So what's our producer say? He's not showing up on our telemetry, like something has happened to him. Oh,
that's odd. That's just can't find a crash or anything. That's really strange.
Yeah, it happened at the start of this lap from looking at it, because he came off track, and then he was passed by Castro Green. Wow. Every man and his dog. What's that? 34 minutes 14 into this race, so that'll include the pace lap. So yeah. Wow.
Then Josh also, noted that the gap now is 3.3 seconds. So obviously Walker had a bit of a problem at some point there. Yep, did a 121 dead to Marco Panero's 118.7 on the last lap. So he had an off somewhere also.
So, Lynn's just sat there. It's bizarre, isn't it?
It is strange.
Wow. Well, viewers, we'll see if we can try and fathom that one out. But it's back to what's happening now. He's still sat there. I do wonder if it's maybe something hardware based or
maybe so.
There we
go. That is bizarre. That is strange. He's now become a track fixture at this point.
Well, let's have a little bit of look through what's happening right now and how things have panned out after the round of pit stops as we approach 5.5 minutes remaining here at Sandown. So Nunes has lead of Spec of Masters. Oh, we've got a replay. Hold tight.
Nope, here's the Walker.
Right. So he had a slight bit of an issue across the kit.
Oh,
half
there it
spin.
is. Yeah.
Kept it out of the wall. Wow.
Good driving to keep it out of the wall for sure.
I think the new off-track physics have saved him from collision with the wall there.
I would agree with that. So
wow.
Hamlet are getting by Dantas for P6. Green's up to 4th, but 7-second gap up to the podium for Green. Castro running 3rd.
Green boy, see how hard he was pushing up over the curb, skimming the wall on the exit there. Out of 4, we head down the back straightaway. I mean, tall order, 7.5 seconds to do Castro, who does have a bit of damage to the front of his car, so he's losing a bit of time. But here we go. It's a replay. What's this going to tell us? That's him just already off track as everyone's streaming past. So, Lyd's saying in the chat on YouTube, it was an obstacle. I would assume from Yoshi Lynn's beaming there, it means tripped him over a lap car, potentially.
Yeah. That's what
Flavio Darlo also asking for a safety car. I'm guessing that's to try and bunch up the pack a bit. Flavio, just to try and make things a bit more interesting. We do have some big old gaps, don't we? We do have some big old gaps out there.
We do, but we've still got a couple of battles. Alessandrini's only, 2/10 behind Green in the top 5. Dantas, Renders, Gardini are all fairly close together. Yeah, these carbs are crazy. I'm shocked that we've not had more incidents already. But you can definitely tell that this is a little used track because we don't normally have this kind of lap traffic in these races.
No. So Panera's lapped everyone up until and including 26th place, which is Bob Kern. He's currently 8th in Masters, said 26th overall. I've just said screeching in tyres. Yeah, that is something off on the round. That is, I think it's actually, no, it wasn't. Anyway, at someone. There's contact. You can see that one coming a country mile off. Renders into the side there. I think it was Bob Kern.
I think it was.
I know maybe Mike Newsom because they headed. Yeah, Mike Newsom's headed to the pits, so I'm guessing it might have been him, who was running 3rd in Spec 2 at the time. Which could mean Simpkins heads to having 3 pit stops. Charles gets on the podium in Spec 2.
That's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, however you got to get there, if you can get there, that's great. That's a podium is a podium. Doesn't matter if you have to take 3 stops or 30. So yeah, good on use for sure.
Oh, Alessandrini is ahead now of Green, just off camera. So that battle intensifies right to the end. We've got under 2 minutes left on the clock now here from Sandown. Canary started while it was penultimate lap. Well, it looks, yes, it will be his penultimate lap. We've got a replay. So this is how Alessandrini slotted it past Jason Green. Staunch defending to the inside there, but that draft is nothing you can do.
No, it's pretty strong on these, especially this long back straight was what I'd call it. And yeah, it was a fairly easy pass.
And the gap to Dudu Castro is only 3 seconds, but I think they've run out of time realistically. I think they need about another 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I think you're right.
To catch him and take 3rd away from him. So, well, I'm hearing though Castro's had a further incident, which could be why that gap has evaporated to the extent it has. He's all by himself, off track.
Yeah, just slow down. Yeah, just a little cautious on that entry of that corner there. Maybe.
Oh, Charles, it's down to 1.8 seconds though. It's absolutely tumbling. As where are they? Well, white flag in the air. 1 lap left to go. And all of a sudden, Castro's trying to limp this one home. It's running out a bit of time. And look, oh, that is Andrea Favini just holding up Alessandrini. And that could be the saving grace for the Brazilian. There's white flag in the air. 1 lap left to go. Favini in amongst Alessandrini and Green, who's sought to past him. Now Gardini pops in for a late pit stop. Thought he might have to stop as well. What is that gap? It's 1.3 seconds. We're in for a classic Weekend Warriors finish here from Sandown. As Castro, his strong, healthy, comfortable 3rd place is absolutely diminishing. It's evaporating before our eyes and on the timing sheets. It's 1 1/4 seconds. There goes Panero. He's only got, what, about a 5th of the lap left to go. Bring this one home.
Maybe Castro's got damage, like suspension or wheel damage.
Well, here comes Green, past Alessandrini. Oh, that's close. Oh, squeeze that one in. Jason Green, and there's a bit of, well, argy-bargy. This is all playing into the hands of Castro. As Panero, he's across the line, but it looked like he was limping it home towards the end there. Walker's 2nd. Castro's going to claim it, but we're not done and dusted here.
Yeah, we know Panera always kind of cuts it really close on fuel, so that might have been it. Might have been chugging at the end.
As well, Green's got Alessandrini. It's that group behind though. What's happening for them? There comes Dan Wood. So Hamada beat Renders, who beat Dantas. Wow. What a race. Everything we expected and more, and equal terms, we didn't even know what to expect. It's another classic weekend Warriors, really, to be fair. Wow. What a classic. As there comes Ian Gibson across the line. He picks up the win in Spec 2. Lovely little showing from him. Yes, that's going to mean, in terms of Gibson, his first race, first win of the season. No, sorry, second, apologies, after winning season opener at Rudskogen and going one better than the last time out at Summit Point where he finished second. In terms of Masters, though, that's Brad Cathcart getting an Aussie on the podium. Great to see from him. Winner of that class is Curtin Nunes. Becomes, well, someone to break the race Marnie dominance in Masters, and Nunes first time on the podium this season for him. Well, so that's everyone across the line. Should be able to bring you some classified results here from Sandown of what's been another jewel in the crown that is the SRF Weekend Warriors. Well, we can tell you Marco Panera has taken victory. What we'll do is wait for, I think, for the last person to cross the line. I'll go check some of our drivers first off. Well, let's speak to our winner in Spec 2, Ian Gibson. Return to the top step of the podium.
Good evening.
I mean, talk us through this one. I mean, a new track. I think the first time I've ever visited here in the SRF Weekend Warriors. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's always been a bit tricky with this sort of circuit, isn't it? Because you've got no historical data of like, well, what's better, an overcut, an undercut, or what's it going to be like in terms of the racing? And just talk us through, what was your sort of like mindset coming into this race?
I was quite optimistic because morning was during this. I was
cutting in and and out a bit there, Ian. What we'll do is Ian, we'll come back to you shortly. We'll see if that
last time. So my
I'm not sure if you can hear us at all, Ian, very well. You're cutting in and out quite a bit. We'll come back to you really, really shortly if you can hear us. We'll have a quick chat with Jim Brewster. We'll see if the issue corrects itself. Jim Brewster now joins us. Jim, wow, another podium.
Yeah, that was a fun fight. So, once again, the aliens weren't here, so the rest of us had a real good fight. Kurt got away from us, but me and Brad Cathcart, Tom Gradwell, and Jeff Fritcher had a good fight and good chase the whole race long. It was a lot of fun. It's I wasn't gambling on any curbs. I wasn't playing any curbs. I just found in practice that the risk wasn't worth it. But I saw the really fast guys were really leaping some curbs, but I wasn't there. But had good laps and got away and held on.
And I mean, you talk about leaping the curves. It was really, really leaping it out there. I mean, in terms of the draft, I mean, just how effective was that? I mean, it seemed to be almost Phillip Island-esque out there.
Oh no! Nothing. There's nothing like Phillip Island. I mean, that's
that's why I say esque. As like Phillip Island.
As how much us Formula V racers love Phillip Island and love drafting around in one pack 3 wide the whole race. That's a really special place. No, this had the draft though. I think that's how I passed both Tom and Jeff was with the draft. But it's sort of a neat precision track. You gotta hit the curbs just right if you're gonna hit them or miss them, and I think there were some penalties. I'll be curious to see how many people spun and stuff by jumping over too many curbs.
Well, I mean, we weren't sure what to expect coming into this. I mean, it seemed like a really clean affair out there. I mean, that probably helped a little bit by the smaller grid size, but equally, were you a little bit surprised by the amount of people being lapped out there, or lap cars you were coming across?
Yeah, I did get a lot of the blue names in the F3 page. You get the blue names, the lap guys, and there were a few, but everybody's polite here. Yeah, the smaller field probably helped. Like I said, I do real well on these vacation weekends. Where everybody goes on vacation, I seem to be doing well.
Well, apparently there was some highly paid people racing around the circuit this afternoon at the same time as this race.
Oh, the people, the carbon fiber crashers.
Yes, those are the guys. Those are the guys.
Yeah, I don't pay much attention to them. They crash a lot for me.
They do,
I compare them to rookie
Miatas. Yeah, yes, definitely. Your rookie street stocks.
So some of our folks were missing today because Summit Point had a race today. So, one of our racers, Morgan Burkhart in the surf, lowered the Summit Point track record by 0.6 of a second this morning in his spec race.
Wow.
Yes. He qualified on the pole runoffs last week in the national championships and had a $2 bolt break and messed up his race. But today at a regional, he lowered the track record 0.6. So, we raced with him on Tuesday night in the Apex, production.
And the Ray Esports League, yes.
Right, and he is something else.
Oh, he is. Oh, yes. I've had the pleasure of commentating on him with Greg many a time. And wow, I mean, that is a frightening time and clearly just reinforces the talent of that young man.
Yep.
Back to the old guard, rather than those young whippersnappers. We head to Spa in a week's time in the surfs.
There's a draft track. You do some drafting there.
Oh, definitely. You feeling a bit more comfortable about that one, or it's a track you've run many a time in these cars?
I don't know. I felt pretty comfortable today. I didn't qualify real well, but the race went real well. So Spa's fun. Unfortunately, it's everybody knows it really, really well. And unfortunately, we'll probably have some crashes. I don't know if you remember a couple seasons ago, we had a big pileup before the green flag. We had like a 60-car field, and we had about a 10-car pileup before the green. So, Spa's a little different.
Yes, I do remember that one well. So you never quite know, but hey, we've had them before, even at Lime Rock. So
yeah.
Never
great
say
job,
that
guys. Let me say hi to my sister Tam down in Buenos Aires, and like I said, last weekend I got to meet Stevie in person, and we hung out all weekend. Me, him, Andrew Love, and a couple other racers, a bunch of other folks. And just like on the radio, Steve's a real nice guy, and we had a really good time.
Great stuff. Well, good luck for next week, and good luck for the Ray Esports League later in the week. That's Jim Brewster.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
See you next week.
Will do, Jim. You take care. Well, as nobody else joined us, we'll get you up some classified results for this evening's proceedings right now, and I'll confirm to you, Marco Pedro won a canter, 3.8 seconds. That slight mistake from Walker late on just cost him, and coming out the traffic, Christian Cabanca in amongst him, and stopped him from really making that challenge with Panero. But in the end, comfortable second. Castro being caught near the end, but that battling cost Green dearly. Hamada in the end finishing 5th. Quite a distance behind him actually in the end. Not too sure how that all panned out. Renders 6th, then Dantas. Word, Cabanca, Overstreet running out top 10. Kurt Nunes 11th for your winner in Masters. It was Jason Gould, Alessandrini. He's come well down. He's had a post-race penalty because he was battling with Green. Fascinating. Just shows it's never quite over until the checkered flag flies. Ian Gibson, who sadly didn't get too much chance with him. I'd ask for him to come back, but he has disappeared off with bad clipping issues. Your winner in Spec 2, second time the season. Looking good, the Brit for Spec 2 Championship proceedings. They had Gardini, Brewster, we just spoke to, second in Masters. Cathcart running up the Masters podium in 18th. Then we had, a plethora of Masters drivers with Fritcher, so Gradwell, Fritcher in 20th, then Mitchell, Bradshaw. Paul Jackson picked up second in Spec 2 in 23rd, then Kern, Davini, Walpole, Hugh Simpkins in the end squeezing onto that Spec 2 podium in 27th, despite being a lap down. McCain 28th, 29th was Long in, ran out top 30 was Verglini, He was 4 laps down into retirement. We lost Newton on lap 27. Lynn, a bit of an obstacle on the track or something caught him out there. We'll look into that later. Lap 23 with Carter and Scarley not making the start. And as I said, well, we've head in a week's time to Spa for the SRS. We will be at Laguna Seca for the Formula 4s. So I've been Tim Cox with Charles Bushall and Josh Wilkie. Thanks very much for joining us. And we'll see you in a week's time when the Weekend Warriors return here live on Apex Racing TV. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www